For Arjun, the smell was unmistakable. Rotting wood, dust-laden old books, and the stench of decay over time. And it was all contained within that old, dilapidated bungalow he had recently inherited. Uncle Prakash, who had lived here alone, had suddenly passed away. Arjun disliked this place, but he had to stay to settle papers and sell the belongings. The first night, the gusts of wind slammed against the window panes, whistling eerily. Arjun had laid out a cot in his uncle's old study room. A small torch with a faint light was with him. Sleep wouldn't come. As soon as he closed his eyes, he heard the sound of old glass breaking or the creaking of wooden planks from a distant room. He assumed it might be rats. Then came the sound. A heavy, clanging sound, like someone dragging a heavy boot across the floor. "Stand! Stand! Stand!" The sound came from beyond the walls. Arjun's heart thumped violently. He picked up the torch and followed the sound. At the end of the hallway was a locked room. Uncle had always told him not to go there. Today, the sound was coming precisely from there. Arjun pressed the door handle. The lock was engaged, but he was sure the sound had come from inside. Just then, the sound stopped. Arjun returned to his room, but sleep eluded him the whole night. The next day, he decided to break the lock. The old padlock broke easily. Entering the room, he felt a strange coldness. The room was completely empty except for one thing, a large mirror on the wall covered with a black cloth. A memory flashed in Arjun's mind. His uncle had always said, "Do not look into the mirror at night, especially in this house." By evening, Arjun noticed the sound had started again. But this time, it was outside his room, in the hallway. "Stand! Stand!" Now it was not just the sound of boots, but also the sound of heavy breathing. Arjun opened the door. The hallway was empty, yet the sound seemed to move downstairs towards the veranda. Arjun descended the stairs. A broken fan blade spun slowly, though the switch was off. He shivered. Just then, his eyes fell on an old video cassette on the rack. It hadn't been there before. Written in red on it were the words, "Truth." Arjun took the cassette to his room. He inserted it into his uncle's old VCR player. The screen displayed a blurry static. Then an image appeared. Uncle Prakash looked young, standing before a police officer. The officer was talking, gesturing with his hands. Uncle's face flickered with anger. Suddenly, Uncle struck the officer on the head with a heavy book he held. The officer fell. The video ended. Arjun's heart raced. Who was that officer? There had never been rumors of Uncle being a criminal. Late at night, as Arjun lay down to sleep, he felt as if someone was standing at the foot of his bed. The edges of the bed pressed down. His breath caught. He opened his eyes. No one was there. Yet the coldness and a sweet, rotten, sulfur-like smell lingered in the air. The next morning, Arjun decided he would leave the house immediately. But first, he had to remove the cover from the mirror in that locked room. He felt the answers lay there. When he lifted the black cloth from the mirror, he saw the mirror was broken, but in a strange way. A large crack ran through the center, as if something had emerged from within. He approached the mirror and saw his reflection. His face was normal. Then suddenly, behind him in the mirror in the hallway, a tall shadow appeared, the shadow of a police officer wearing a cap. Arjun turned quickly. No one was there, but a voice echoed in his ear. "Criminal." Arjun's body froze. He tried to leave the house, but the main door, which had never been locked before, was now secured with a lock. The key was missing. There was no signal on his phone. Night fell. The electricity went out. Only the faint moonlight lit patches of the house. Arjun made a hiding spot in his uncle's study room, holding a heavy book in his hands. Then the sounds began again. But now they came from multiple places at once. Heavy footsteps from the upper floor. the jingle of handcuffs from below, and the breathing, now much closer. "Stand! Stand! Criminal!" Arjun held the book and stood behind the door. His heart pounded against the wall. The door lock began to rattle, slowly at first, then violently. "Who's there?" Arjun asked, his voice trembling. The rattling stopped. Then a sound came. Heavy, dragging footsteps. But the sound wasn't behind the door. It was inside the room, just behind him. Arjun's veins froze. He turned slowly. In the moonlight, the police officer stood there. His uniform coat was torn, a deep wound on his head oozing black matter. His eyes were completely white, and no sound came from his mouth. Only his right hand was in a strange, twisted position, as if it had been broken and reassembled. The officer extended his hand, signaling Arjun to follow. "No, stay back," Arjun said, his voice shaking. A smile spread across the officer's face. But it wasn't on his lips. It emerged from another mouth on his chest, in the torn part of the uniform, revealing blackened teeth. Arjun screamed. He ran toward the door. The lock no longer budged. He opened the door and stepped out. In the hallway, the officer was already standing in front of him, black matter flowing from his white eyes. "Together," the voice echoed in his mind. "You will stay here forever too, just like your uncle. Every criminal must be punished." Arjun stepped back, ran upstairs. On the upper floor, he entered the room with the mirror. Maybe there was a way out from there. Standing before the mirror, he saw. His reflection was gone. In its place stood the officer, and behind him the shadow of Uncle Prakash. Uncle's face was terrified. His hands raised as if saying, "Forgive him." Arjun tried to turn back, but his body froze. The officer's hand emerged from the mirror through the broken glass, bloodied yet growing outward. The hand touched his shoulder. An icy chill spread through his body. He wanted to scream, but the sound remained stuck in his throat. In the mirror, his face blurred, and in his place, the officer became clear. He remembered the video, Uncle striking the officer with the book. The officer, perhaps investigating, had uncovered some secret of Uncle's, and Uncle had trapped him in the mirror. But the mirror didn't just trap him, it transformed him into a being that now seeks a companion to deliver justice to every new intruder. The mirror glass became completely clear. Arjun's reflection was gone. Now only the police officer stood looking straight ahead. Behind him, another shadow, Uncle Prakash, stood with folded hands, eyes lowered. Downstairs, the house door opened. A young couple with a property broker entered. "This house is very cheap," said the broker. "The owner died suddenly, and the heir decided to sell it immediately." The girl looked toward the upper floor. "What's up there?" "Just an old room," said the broker. "But it has a beautiful antique mirror." Upstairs, from the broken mirror, two pairs of black and white eyes watched the young couple, and a new set of heavy footsteps echoed through the air. "Stand! Stand! Criminal!" Now this house wanted a new companion, and justice, it seemed, was still being served.